try again. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of With Disadvantage. This is the Solstice campaign, episode 13.5. So if you recall from our last episode, it's been a little bit. I got sick, and so it was hard for me to fit them all in. It was all only supposed to take a week, and then I got a cold. It's not COVID, everyone. Don't worry. It was just a cold. I'm over it now. I have a tiny bit of a scratchy voice that doesn't seem to want to go away. I think it's just allergies at this point. So apologies for that. I have some water next to me. That should make it a little bit easier. But let's see. Yeah, as usual, I'm your host and DM, Chev. And today's one-on-one session is with Rainbow and his character, Sam Blade. Welcome, Rainbow.
Hello?
Hello? All right, so let's go ahead and just get started. I'll close down this stream thing. The audio levels look good. Everything looks good. Oh, hold on. I want to pull it up on... Oh, I already have it up. Good. Okay, and I'm going to just turn off the audio or the mute on this other thing for a sec to make sure that the stream actually hears us. Turn off the audio or the mute on this other thing for a sec to make sure that the stream actually... Okay, looks good. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to drag a link to the chat for you to Ancient Chamber.
Is it a new Ancient Chamber or is it the old one?
I don't know, but I dragged a link to the chat. Just click the dragon head.
Oh, I was clicking on the text. All right.
Okay. And you see the giant Pirtesh?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and then you're the little Pirtesh. You remember, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you have entered this chamber, and you were with... Let's see, who were you with when you entered the Dominion territory?
I was with, what's her name? I used to pretend to be,
Alora?
character.
You were with Alora?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you made... Oh, that's right. You made your way through the ruin with Alora and Sam, right? Or not Sam, Sakara, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys wandered inside here, and suddenly you're all drawn to this chamber by the ominous light and the kind of the low hum coming out of this room. And as you entered the room, a giant hologram of Pirtesh appeared on top of one of these ancient computer consoles that you saw before. And Pirtesh is towering over everyone. And you look around real fast, and you notice that everyone is here. Like Dragthar's here, Naya is here, Marina is here, Violet, Audavon, even Kelgion is here, who left you guys a while ago from the Solar Mine caverns. Sakara, Alora, and you are all here. All in this
Toto's
chamber.
here as well.
Sorry, what?
And Toto's here as well.
Toto? And you were there, and you were there. And so anyway, you look around, and you notice that everyone around you is slowly, like, they're staring up at Pirtesh, but their eyes are kind of glazed over, and their tongues kind of hanging out of their mouth. They're just kind of like the lights are on, but nobody's home, and they're just like in awe of her presence or something. And then Pirtesh immediately finishes. She pulls her hand away from Audavon. She had her hand on his head, and he kind of sort of comes to a little bit, but still looks very dazed and confused. And so does Violet next to him, but they don't look like they're in as much of a trance as the rest of everyone does. And then Pirtesh looks up and she sees you and she says, "Well, that's a familiar face." But
I'm gonna say, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. You say what
I was just say, hello, giant Pirtesh. I'm little Pirtesh.
And she looks up at you and she just says, "Well, I'm flattered that you've taken to my likeness, but come forward, Sam Blade."
Oh, can I? That looks like there's like a cliff.
It's a 5-foot gap, so you do have to make a dexterity saving throw to jump the cliff.
Okay. Let me see. It's 5 foot.
Yep, it's a 5-foot jump.
I guess I'll take a controlled, ready, running start and then jump.
Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and make not a dexterity saving throw, a dexterity check. Or acrobatics check, actually.
Acrobatic?
Yeah, my brain's not all here today. I apologize. I rolled it for you.
Okay.
All right, an 8. So you do make it. The difficulty was not that hard. You jump. You barely make it across on the other side. Almost your feet kind of hang off the edge. You slip and you have to right yourself, but you're okay. It looks like there used to be a bridge there, but the bridge is no longer. And then you walk forward to Piritesh, right?
Yep.
Okay. And she says, "I am going to give you a memory."
Is it a dirty one?
She says, "It is a memory of your own ancestors. Your genetic memory is stored within you, and I am going to unlock it. This will help you explore yourself and unlock powers you never knew you had." And she
Okay.
puts her hand on your head, and suddenly your mind kind of goes blank. But then she pulls her hand away, and she just says, she like gasps a little bit, and then she just says, "You are a unique one. Do you have memory of how you got here?
No.
What is your earliest memory, Sam?"
Living in a town with my wife.
And that's your earliest memory? You don't remember getting married to your
Oh,
wife?
yeah, I remember getting married. Yeah.
Okay, so what is your earliest memory? Earliest memory in your entire life?
Walking in that town.
Walking in the town where you met your wife.
Yep.
How old were you? Do you know?
I think it says on my notes, but I'm not sure.
But your earliest memory is of already being an adult.
Yeah, I think I was about 18.
I've never encountered a humanoid, a person like you before. This is quite interesting. Let us see what the process yields for you. And then she puts her hand back on your head. Do you let her?
Yeah.
Okay. And then your mind goes blank, and you can close that map now. Okay. Let me get out a little map here to sketch on. I want to try just creating a new map and see if this program handles it okay. Let's see, create an empty blank map. And then I want to put a grid on it. There we go.
You think this is easier to do improvise maps with, or the tabletop simulator?
Oh, improvising maps on tabletop sucks.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, because, well, yeah, because you can't adjust the grid size very easily. The measuring tool kind of sucks. You basically have to find an image and import it into TTS, whereas in here, all I had to do was create a new image, and it already has the tools to create drawings and grids and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And then now I can drag your character onto this surface. Or not. Why didn't that work? Let me try. Oh, right, because I got to put you in the combat tracker. That's why. Okay, there we go. Okay, much better. Oh, the wrong tool. Okay, now I'll share this with you. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, you see your token?
Yep.
All right, let's do a little bit of drawing here. Okay, so, well, no, let's not draw yet. We'll just leave this open so we have it. You find yourself at a conference, and you look down and at your arms, and you notice your arms are transforming in color. They're like a normal kind of pale humanoid skin, and the skin you're used to. You emulate a lot of different appearances, so I'm having a hard time like whatever's normal to you is. I guess you don't really have a normal, do you?
No.
Okay, so but you look down, and so for you, it's not really that surprising to see that you are different in appearance. You look down at your own hands, and you see them as different all the time when you change shape. However, you do know that you last appeared as Piritesh with her white skin, her pale white skin, and it does not look like that anymore. In fact, it looks like parts of it are kind of pale white skin, but then they're being transformed into like this sort of greenish color. almost like you're transforming into some sort of scrawny version of the Hulk. And it hurts. Your arms are hurting. And then you look up around you, and you're in the middle of a crowd. And it takes you a second to realize, but everyone's freaking out. There is swirls of colors shooting forth off of this stage in the front of the room, and there are people on stage kind of running around with these weird devices, not knowing what to do. And then there's a bunch of people down below the stage, dressed very nicely, nice gowns and suits and everything. And you look down and you realize that you are dressed in a nice suit, and you even have a monocle on your face. Um, and you're kind of standing. It's like standing room only. There's no seats in the audience. You're just standing everywhere, but there are like little cocktail tables and stuff around. You're leaned up against this little cocktail table that's standing height, and you have a little glass of wine next to you, a plate of half-eaten food, and suddenly the table goes flying over, gets knocked over as three people come running past you. One of them is a normal humanoid. They look like a normal, average-sized humanoid. They look female, but they have a different appearance, a kind of a taller, lankier appearance than you're used to. Almost resembling sort of like elves a little bit, but not a ton. They mostly appear human, just with some odd colored skin on some of them, and then the rest have normal human colored skin. And so it's very weird. Like, these colors are shooting off stage, and then just as this lady knocks over your table and two people come after her, swirling colors kind of taking over their skin. One of the non-colorful looking people that doesn't have the swirls of color, of like there's green, red, blue, like these swirls of color all over on people. The different people are like one color is taking them over. And this one person that doesn't have any of that going on suddenly gets hit in the back by this white color as it injects into her back, and it's like pure white like the wind. It's almost like they're elemental colors, like blue, red, green, white, like wind, earth, fire, water, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's hit with this white energy, and it enters her body, and her skin immediately starts transforming into this like sort of albino pale color, and it almost looks like Storm from X-Men as her skin starts to take over. Another person gets caught by red energy, and their skin catches on fire immediately, and the fire almost like burns its way into their skin and into their body as it takes them over. And you have been hit by some sort of green energy, and your body is transforming into this sort of greenish color. And everyone's running for the exits on this big building, and you realize it looks like a giant conference room, very large room. And you see that a bunch of people have dropped these like devices they're holding, these mobile devices. As a player, you would know them as some sort of smart device, like a phone or a tablet, and that people are dropping them. There's one right on the floor next to you that you notice at your feet.
All right, and I'll pick that up.
Okay. So you pick that up and you look at it, and you can pretty much just picture like some sort of generic Android phone, but you don't recognize anything, and you're actually even having a hard time reading the text on the screen. And the more you look at it, you realize you don't understand that the text on the screen, but there are pictures and stuff on the screen, and it's all touch, just like today's smartphones. And a torrent of water spews forth from the stage, and then you notice that all of this elemental energy is coming from one focal point on stage, and it's hitting everything, hitting the structure of the buildings, catching it on fire. Green energy bolts are hitting the walls and ceiling and stuff, and vines are crawling out of them, or the wall is turning into dirt and crumbling to the floor. And then these blue torrents of energy are coming out and turning into waves of water that wash away from the stage. And a bunch of people are getting caught up in the waves and being pushed out the door. And it's basically mayhem. And you look over, and there is one woman kind of hunkered down, and she's holding a baby. And the water is trying to push her, and she's trying to anchor with the water. And people are hitting her, and debris is hitting her. And she's about to lose her footing and go out the door. She's within 5 feet of you.
Just to clarify, you're saying people are hitting her like they're just accidentally running into, or are they
Yeah,
trying to
like
punch
the
you?
water's sweeping them through the
Oh,
room,
okay.
you know, and then the water's pushing up debris and other people against her. But she's desperately trying to protect her baby, and she's holding on onto her baby, and then she's kind of kneeled down on the floor, like as in as strong of a position as she can be while holding her baby, if that makes sense. Trying to just keep her back to the water and the things hitting her to protect her baby.
I guess I'll jump in, grab her, and kind of throw her out of the way of the water.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and have you do a athletics check.
That's right in skills, right? Athletics.
Uh huh.
Right now, where do I click? The little
The
dice button.
the box with the modifier. Okay. All right. So you go to grab her. I assume you grab her by like the shoulder or something.
Mm.
Okay. You grab her by the shoulder and you try to pull her out of the water. But one person that's just like screaming. This woman is screaming as the water is washing her out of this like conference room, and she goes sweeping by this woman that you're trying to save, she frantically tries to grab onto the woman's foot, her ankle, and she pulls it out from under her, and her baby fall into the water, and they get washed out the door, out into the courtyard. You are between two torrents of water that are going out the exit doors, basically. There's two exit doors on either side of the wall that was behind you when you were facing the stage. In fact, let's draw a little bit now. So here's the stage, kind of comes out like a circle like this. And then there's like this focal point right here. I'm just going to draw like a little dot. And then there's a bunch of cocktail tables randomly around out here. Which one does even... There we go. Okay. So a bunch of these all over. There's one right next to you. People were standing everywhere in this conference, basically, and then if they had drink or anything or food or anything, they would stand next to these cocktail tables.
What are
And
the
then
tables made out of?
they're made out of like sort of a cheap like some sort of cheap wood that's painted to look
Good.
fancy.
I was hoping you'd say wood.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Why?
gonna grab one of the tables,
Okay.
flip it upside down. I'm gonna try to surf right outside the exit with it.
All right, hold on. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Last one. Supposedly they fixed the eraser tool finally. Oh, nice. The eraser. Oh, the eraser's much better now. All right, cool. Okay, so I need the line tool. There we go. So there's like an exit there, wall, an exit there, like that. So you're in this like sort of curved corridor of this building. Curved room, I should say. The stage is curved out toward you, and the wall behind you is curved. And these are the exits. These holes in the wall back here. I'll put little arrows on them. Okay, and then water is washing from the stage in these directions. And you are back here, and you just tried to pull. Hold on. Let me find her. Perfect. I still have her in here. Okay. So you're trying to pull this woman out of. Hold on a second. There, can you see her now?
Yeah.
Okay. And then she got washed out the door along with a bunch of other people. But you are now standing on the edge of the water. Like there's water that's maybe up to your ankles, but the torrents of water are just to the either side of you because the pull from the water being pulled out of the exit, basically, as they go out the exit, it's creating a current. If that makes sense.
Okay.
That's it. You do whatever you feel you would do in this moment. Everything's
I'm gonna
going
grab that
nuts.
table and I'm gonna flip it upside down.
Oh right, you just said that. So, okay, so you surf out out this. Let's see, right here, this door.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you come out this door, or you come up to this water right here, and you pull this table, and you put it on the ground, or you put it. I guess, are you gonna jump on the water and then put it under your feet as you land on the water?
I'm gonna put the table out just in front of me. I'm gonna jump on it at the same time.
Okay, I'm gonna have you roll a dexterity check, or excuse me, an acrobatics check.
Right. Dexterity.
Once for jumping to land on your board, and then another one to ride the water without falling.
Is that in the main?
Acrobatics is on your
I mean, the
skills.
dexterity.
Acrobatics is a dexterity check. It's a form of
Oh.
one.
So you said athletics and what?
2 athletics checks. Okay. All right. So you were able to jump up and put this table underneath you like a surfboard, and you go flying out the door. And as soon as you get out the door, it goes. You lose your balance, and it goes flying out from underneath you, and it goes flying through the air like a frisbee, and you like fall on your back, and you kind of get washed out into this courtyard. So let me move the camera down a little bit out here. Okay, so this woman and her baby, you see her kind of washed out into the courtyard. Where's my tool at? Okay, so there is a sidewalk that's going out like this. Okay, oops, hold on. And then same for this exit. I love these tools. Okay. And then drop one out like this. Okay, and then I'm going to take a green color here. And then I'm just going to do a scribble because there is no bucket tool in this for some reason. And so I'm just going to do a quick scribble like this to show that everywhere the area the scribble is filling up is grass. Okay, it's like a lawn of some kind. And there's one on either side of the sidewalks as well. Okay, so I'm going to pull this back up a little bit. You're going to get washed out the door into the grass. And then I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to sync my view with you. Sync with client. Okay. Are you staring at this one grass section that you're in?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you see this woman that you tried to help washed out into the lawn, and then you are also washed out into the lawn. And now that you guys are outside, the water is spreading out and just, so it's not really a flowing current anymore. It's kind of just dissipating this flow of water. But you still see tons of energy bolts and stuff. And now that you're outside, it's like storming. And you look up into the sky, and there is dark, ominous clouds. But probably about like 50 miles out from where you are, there's clear sky. It's a sunny day. But there's just this one dark swirl of clouds over the top of the building. And you turn around and you look back behind you to the building you were just inside, and it's like this giant amphitheater looking thing. Like this giant auditorium convention center, basically, type of thing. And on the front of it, you just recognize in common, it says the Observatorium. And above it is this weird swirl of weather, dark clouds and stuff kind of swirling overhead and kind of forming a sort of tornado that goes right down on top of the conference room. Almost like that the bottom point of it would be swirling up and out from that point on stage when you were inside. Okay, and then you look up this direction and you see that your table that you surfed on has gone flying through the air. And you're watching as it flies through the air, and in just behind where you're looking over in this direction, you can see, let me find a generic token real fast. Let me use a search. Don't freeze. It's searching through like all the tokens, so it's taking a second. Okay, that works. Let's see. We'll use this guy's token. And he's going to take up a bigger space. And then I need a human. Okay. Let me find a good one here.
That kind of looks like a goblin holding a rolling pin.
I'll describe him in 1 second. Once I can figure out a good token for this other dude. I guess this works. Okay. So there is there's this dude over here, and he's kind of been washed out, and he's kind of delirious. He's trying to stand up, and you see this dude, and then you see behind him that this golem, this big golem-looking thing, and probably picture like a construct from World of Warcraft, like if you're in the Blood Elf starting zone. You know those like weird robot dudes that are made of crystal that walk around in that area?
Yep.
And their kind of upper half floats on top of their lower half.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this guy looks like. Very similar to that. He's kind of this. He looks mechanical, but he's constructed out of like this sort of like crystalline structure, and his upper half is connected to his lower half by like these weird tendrils of energy. And he turns around and he sees this dude kind of flopping around in the field, and this golem immediately runs in his direction, starts running this way, and then you watch as the table piece flies through the air, and this dude finally just stands up and realizes that the golem is chasing him, and he goes to run, and your table hits him in the head and knocks him unconscious on the ground. Poof, ugh, and he just falls face first in the grass. And then you hear off to your left, as you're looking at him, you hear this woman scream, "No! Beck!" And she stands up holding her baby. And as she does, you get a good look at the baby because the cloth on it has kind of peeled back a little bit. And the cloth is like this sparkly blue color. And you get a look at the baby, and the baby had clearly been hit by some sort of blue energy, and the baby has turned blue. And then you get a look at her, and you notice that this woman that you tried to save has basically turned completely red, like this orange-red skin color. And she almost looks like her hair almost looks like she's on fire. So the elements, the fire element has basically like taken over her. And you watch as this dude gets knocked out, and she goes running to try and stop him, and this golem comes running after him. The golem gets up to him, and you watch as you realize the golem is actually not after him. The golem is just after something behind him, and he's laying on the ground unconscious, and the golem just steps on this guy and just squashes him. And then he runs over the human and begins to chase this woman, who runs off this direction, and it starts to chase her. And you're now on your feet and free to act.
Okay, do I still have shape-shifting abilities?
You do.
All right, I'm going to change myself temporary so you don't have to change the token to the lady that just ran off.
Okay, I can. It's easy to change your token. There you go.
Now, do I see a rock near me?
Yes, actually. So there are decorative rocks like that that form a bench almost,
Well,
and then there's some pebbles around it, like some
I'm
smaller
looking
stones.
more like something to toss.
Yeah, around this rock, there's like some some fist-sized stones.
I am going to take a stone and hold one like I'm holding a baby. Then I'm going to take the other one. I'm going to chuck it right at the robot thingy.
Okay. Let's see. So he's about right here and chasing her, and you're going to try and chuck the stone at the golem. That's about 15 feet. Okay. Go ahead and make me a athletics check. Okay. You throw it, and it hits him, and it just hits off the back of it, just dink, like off the crystalline structure of this golem, and it just keeps going.
Okay. Does he look at me? Or?
In that time, he's now off. He's made it farther away.
Does he acknowledge that I hit him or anything?
Nope. Didn't even turn around to see what it was.
Let me look at my spells. How far is he away?
Let's see. He is 30 feet away.
Let me see if this spells. I have Scorching Ray. Let's see if that's in there.
Scorching Ray?
Yeah. What would that be under? Abilities?
Yeah, under actions. So left click your token, and it'll get like a black circle around it, and then control click your target.
Control.
There you go. Now you have it targeted, and now you can use the buttons next to Scorching Ray.
Scorching Ray. That's a level 2 spell. So what do I do now? It's the red button, or is it the...
You do the first one first to see if you hit.
Okay.
It's attack and damage. Okay, that's a hit. Okay. All right, so you want to describe what the ray looks like, actually?
Yeah, looks like a rainbow.
Oh, okay. All right, so this rainbow ray of energy shoots forth from the palm of your hand and hits this golem thing in the back, and it does some damage to it. You see some of the crystal kind of shatter and fall off of it and fall to the ground. But it doesn't stop and turn around. It just keeps chasing this woman, and you hear off in the distance. It just says, "Objective terminate," and it keeps running.
I guess I'm gonna have to run with them.
Okay. All right. So roll me a acrobatics check to see how well you keep up with him. Okay. All right. So you're able to keep pace with him. He's running at a full-on sprint, and so is the woman he's chasing. But eventually, let me get the tool out again to draw here. I'm going to make this black. Okay. There is a street that runs along this way. Whoa. What did I do? Hold on. Let me just try that again. Like this. Okay. So there is like a tree line that runs right here. It's like a 10-foot tree line. I'm going to put some circles in it to denote the trees. Okay, so, and they're like evenly spaced out as they go down. Is it like a tree every like 10 feet? Okay, so there's all the trees, and then there is... Sorry, my mom texted me. We've got some COVID going on in my family today.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Yep, it does, but there's nothing to be done about it, so I figured D&D to be a good distraction. Okay, and then there's just more trees on the other side. I'm not gonna put the circles in this one because you get the idea, right? There's trees right here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And I got to get used to switching these tools. Okay, so there's trees right here. I'll sync the view again. Here we go. And then there's a street going right here. This is like a street, like a tar street, like what you're used to seeing today. And then there's trees going down the other side, like that, just same as the other side of the street. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so she keeps running, and she runs into the trees. Right there, and it's not like super obscuring where she is, but the golem is now struggling to decide, like which way to go around the tree and chase her. And there are cars in the street, but they're like hovering above the ground. They don't have wheels, so they're very futuristic looking. They're almost like these pods, and a bunch of them are taking off from the street and flying up into the sky, and then a bunch more are landing down, and people are pouring on board. So there's tons of people running out of this conference, running through the trees, and they're running out into the street and hopping in these pods, and then these pods are taking off really, like super fast, and they're disappearing up into the sky. And then Tess, this chick you helped, well, I guess you wouldn't know her name, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. She's running around this tree, and then she ends up running past some of these pods to the other side of the street. And then this golem just starts throwing up these pods in the air, just throwing them, just moving them aside, like almost as if they're just not even there. And you've managed to keep up pace. You still gonna follow him?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, let's see. Okay, so you chase them for a while, and eventually you guys are running through the city, and it's got full of these buildings. But the buildings are like abandoned right now, as like almost they've been all evacuated while whatever the hell's going on at the convention center is going on. And this golem loses track of her. She disappears into some building, and then you notice you start passing a bunch of these golems. There's tons of them, and so now you're just walking him or behind him. Let me get you out here into the city more, and I'm gonna draw a few city blocks real fast. Okay, so there's like a building here, small building here, and then let's see, a larger building here, and another small building here, and then there's a really large building here, and another pretty large building here, and here, and then we'll draw more as we need them. Okay, and then you run out here, and this golem is just patrolling along the side of this building here. And I'm going to take Tess off of this table because you don't know where she is either. And then it's slowed to like this more, and it's just patrolling now. It's just looking around. And it's just, is it just going along, like looking left and right, trying to scan for its objective, basically.
How big is this thing?
It's huge. He takes up a 10-foot radius on the grid. He's probably about like 8 feet tall and super wide, super broad shouldered, like golem thing, like from Warcraft. Like basically picture the golems in the Blood Elf starting zone compared to a Blood Elf. You're the Blood Elf.
So I can't turn into him?
You could turn into something that looks like him, but he would not. You'd not be his size. No.
All right, I'm gonna try to do that.
Okay. How can I? Hold on. I want to see if I can just drag this token onto you. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll put you out here, and then I'll create a new entry for the golem. Copy the token. Put it out there. Make him bigger. Real quick, let me change his size. There you go. Actually, let me remove him. Now that I changed his size, I think it will do it the right calculation. Or not. Whatever. I'll just keep it as large. And I'll just manually increase his size. There you go. Okay, and you're behind him, but you're a little one.
So would I know what way that lady didn't run?
So she ran down this corridor. That's all you know. You basically had to round the corner from back here. And so but by the time you got around the corner, all you could see now was the golem.
I gotta assume that she didn't run this way.
Oh yeah, you can assume she didn't run that way, yes. You definitely saw her round this corner, and then the golem followed her around that corner. And
I'm
destroying pods as he went across the street to get to her.
I'm gonna approach the goblin and mimic his voice and go, "Hello, I saw that lady run and point this way."
And this thing immediately turns around to look at you, and like looks you up and down, and this beam of red light kind of comes out of its face, and like almost like it's scanning you, and then it just says, "Objective not found, continuing search pattern," and it just keeps walking the way it was going.
I point again to this way.
Okay, he doesn't see you.
Okay. I'm gonna duck inside the building then, I guess.
You're going inside the building?
Yeah.
Okay, so you walk along. There's like a sidewalk basically on around these buildings, and then like a little like kind of alleyway street thing going between them. There's lots of like dumpsters and stuff. There's a few weird looking like scooters, but they're like floating off the ground about a foot. and they're like leaned up against the wall in this corridor.
Oh,
And
you know what? I'm gonna try to ride one of the scooters.
okay, all right. So you go right up one of these scooters, and you put your foot on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you put your foot on it, and it kind of goes down a little bit, but then back up, and it's like it seems like it's very hard to um, basically to keep your balance. It's going to take some serious practice to keep your balance with it. But it doesn't touch the ground. It just hovers on the ground. Think of like Back to the Future with the hoverboard,
Okay.
but the hover scooter where he had before he took it from the little girl, it had the handlebars on it or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, and so it's hovering on the ground, and you're gonna try to ride it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to hold on to the handles and see if I can stand on it.
Okay, are you trying to stand on it while it's moving, or stand on it while it's standing still?
Standing still to see if I can do it.
Okay, you need to roll me a acrobatics check. You're able to stay up on it for a little bit, but then you go falling off.
Okay, I'm gonna give up on that. I'm gonna turn back into paratest and go inside the building and see what's up.
Okay. Um, yeah, so that was a super high DC because you were trying to stand. Have you ever tried to stand on a scooter and not have it move? Like a two-wheeled scooter? Like
Yeah,
it's really hard for it to not tip over while it's standing still. That's why it was so hard, just so you know.
that's all right.
Okay, so you're gonna try and go inside the building again?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
there.
as a paratest.
Oh, as Piratesh? Okay. Hold on a sec. Uh,
I don't need anyone shooting at me.
NPCs.
Oh, while you're getting her icon out, could you change my default icon on the top left to the paratest?
I don't have a portrait for her, so I'll have to do that later.
Okay.
In fact, you should probably just give me something else that is forever your default.
Besides paratest?
Yeah, because you're changing appearances. But, like, when you die, what do you revert to?
I'd have to find something.
Yeah, find me something like that for your portrait. Okay, hold on. I have to search for Piratesh because apparently didn't create an NPC for her. So I have to search the token window.
Well, it's on.
Uh,
Can I just drag it? No, it's one of my token suite.
oh, right. Okay, I forgot that I put it there. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, that's exactly what that's for. Cool. Okay, cool. All right, you are now back to Piratesh, and let me find a door here, or find the draw tool. I'm going to just put a little... We'll use green. There is a set of double doors right here in the back of this building, and there's a dumpster on the left side of it there, and this whole back area kind of smells a little bit.
Oh, I didn't mean that building. I meant the opposite building.
Oh,
That is a building, isn't it?
you're trying to go in this building?
This building right here.
That's the one
Where is
I
it?
drew the door on.
Oh, okay, never mind. Because he was pointing down. Oh, that was mine pointing down. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, that was your own arrow. Okay, so yeah, the set of double doors is right there. It's that green area I highlighted. Did you try to push on the door?
Yep.
Okay, it's locked.
Okay. Does it look like I can bash it open with the rock I still have?
Sure. You're gonna try to bash the lock with a rock. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay. So did you pick up the rock that you threw earlier, or did you pick up another rock?
I had two rocks. The rock that I threw, and then I had one that I was pretending to be a baby to fool the robot with.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Roll me a athletics check then for smashing the lock here. Okay, you smash this lock and the handle bends and you go to smash it again, but before you do, it just like the handle falls out of the door, and the door kind of creaks open.
All right, I'm gonna go in.
Okay. All right. So you walk inside, and you're in like this back, like sort of kitchen area. There's like wash basins and stuff. There's a big tower of, like a big rack on wheels, and it's got like a bunch of dishes in it. Let's see what else. Everything's like made of stainless steel. There's big stainless steel like vents coming off the top of these weird looking stoves. And then on the opposite side of the room, this way, you see it turns less into kitchen and more of this like laundry area. It's like an industrial, like, like a company's like laundry kitchen area. It's a big
What kind of
building.
dishes?
Well, you don't recognize them because you've never seen dishes like this before.
Oh, I thought when you said dishes, I thought you meant like food.
Oh no, like dishes like on a rack. So like there's this big steel rack, and it has like these plastic shelving on it, and then there's a bunch of dishes in there, like like freshly cleaned.
Okay, because you said something about a cart having dishes on it, so I thought you meant.
Oh
It just
yeah,
had
you were
food.
picturing like a food cart. Yeah, no, it's more like a just a giant cart that's taller than you are, and it just has shelves on it, and then all the like dry, clean dishes.
Do I see any food?
No, there's no food back here. In fact, everything looks pretty clean for the most part, at least as clean as it can be. It looks like it's heavily used.
Okay, I guess I'll go into the clothing part.
Okay, so you walk this way, and there's like these huge industrial washer dryer, and there is like baskets and baskets of towels and rags.
I am gonna expect the what we know as a washer and just kind of look at it.
Okay, are you looking for anything specific?
Well, I don't know what it is, so I'm looking at it. It's something brand new to me.
Okay, so yeah, so it's a front facing washer, like you'd find at like the laundromat sometimes, and it's got like a big kind of bubble glass dome on the front, and so you can see inside of it, and there's just like this big tumbler inside. It's empty though, and it's all made of stainless steel, just like everything else in this back area.
Is there any washers with the lids on top?
There's only one washer. There's a giant washer and a giant dryer.
Does one of them have a lid on top?
No, they're both front facing.
Well, I guess I'll open up the door and kind of inspect it a little bit more.
Okay. You look inside the washer, it's empty. You look inside the dryer, which does not have a glass dome, it just has a solid front door. You open that one up and look inside, and there's nothing in there either. It's just another tumbler, stainless steel tumbler.
All right. I'm gonna make one of my own rows if you don't mind. Intel. Where would I find intelligence?
What role are you doing?
Oh.
What
Okay,
is this
so
for?
my intelligence thinks that this is a bathroom, and I'm gonna go to the bathroom in one of them.
Wow. Okay. All right. Number one or number two?
Number two.
Okay, so you're going to have to go. Wait, you rolled a good roll though. What did
Oh
you
yeah,
even
that's
roll
good.
for?
Just see if I can figure it out, and that's what I think I figured it out.
So what would you have had to roll to figure it out?
I'd have to say pretty high since it's a washer, and I have no
Well, you
idea
got
what a
a
washer is.
19. Like, I feel like you did the roll for no reason.
I figured I needed like a nat 20, but okay, I guess I'll say that 19 figured it out.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Strange alien technology that I don't know anything about.
I think if you're gonna do a roll and you roll that high, yeah, like your character would you don't know what it is, but you can tell that it's got something to do with the baskets of clean fabrics around it.
Oh, I see clean fabrics. Okay, what's inside the?
Yeah, I told you there's a bunch of baskets full of clean towels and like rags.
Is that all of them? Is just rags and towels?
Yeah, no clothes, just towels, rags and towels.
Do I see any fun towels, like a beach towel?
No, they're all white. And
All right, I
there's a
guess
pile of dirty ones in this big hamper looking thing to the left of them.
I
But
guess I'm gonna
the ones in
take
the baskets are all clean and white.
I'm gonna take one of the clean white ones.
Okay, a big towel or a rag?
A big towel.
Okay, it's your standard size towel. Looks like it's probably meant for cleaning up messes or wiping things down or something. It's not. It doesn't look ornate. It's not like it's supposed to be used in a real bathroom or on the beach or something.
Okay.
Okay, you got this towel. Are you gonna wrap it around you, or what are you doing with it?
I'm gonna put it around my shoulders and kind of just like hang it there.
Okay. All right. You have a towel on your shoulders. Do you do anything else?
No, I'm trying to figure out what I should do.
So you can still run through the alleyways to find her. You could explore this building more if you want. There's lots of buildings. You do remember that you picked up a device in the auditorium off the floor. You could mess with that a bit if you wanted.
I guess I'll run into the alleys. We'll carefully try to find her.
Okay, so you go back out the way you came in.
There's no exit. It's going to the this way.
Not that you can see from where you can see inside that room. Let me change the color here. You're basically in a room that's like this. And then there is a door here, a door here, and then there's the door to the outside back there.
I guess I'll double back then.
Okay. All right, so you head back out into the alley. And you see the golem is nowhere to be found. And the alley is empty again. You smell the trash.
I guess I run up this way.
Okay. All right, so you walk up this way. And as you look to your left, you briefly see that woman you helped save earlier peek around the corner, and then she ducks back.
I'm gonna follow.
Okay, so you head over there, and then as you peek around that corner, in fact, hold on, I want to try something. I think I can make this work from. Did that work? Let's see.
I get rid of all the grids.
I thought there would be a way to. You know what? I think it has to have an image on it. Let me grab an image real fast. We'll just grab something generic. There is a shock bolt backgrounds. We'll use this one. Okay, can you see now the gray background?
Let me look.
I guess this isn't working. Oh,
Yeah, it looks
maybe I have to duplicate the.
looks
Yeah,
great. I don't see like the little dots anymore from the background.
there we go. That's why. Okay. Let me try turning this background off. So I just wanted to mess with this because I never take the time. Can't take the time to do it in the bigger games. And so I wanted to see if I could get this to work real fast. In this. Okay, now. Let's turn the background back on because that's obnoxious. Okay, cool. All right. We now have a line of sight for your token.
Neat.
Yeah. So
Kind of looks like a drunk person tried to draw an arrow going up and down. They met together.
all right. So you click your token, and you can see what your token can see, and you can move it around, and you'll see the line of sight stuff change.
Oh, nice.
So you go to peek around the corner, and
Yeah.
you see Tess hiding behind a trash can. Her fiery hair is poking out the top. And then you look to your right, and you see the golem marching in the opposite direction, marching this way.
I'm gonna duck behind her, hide as well.
Okay, and then she just says, "Who are you? What are you doing?"
Who are you?
My name's Tess. I'm just trying to save my baby from that thing."
My name's Sam, and I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, are you here to help me then?
Yeah, as long as you're not causing all this problem, yes.
Why would I be causing the problem?
I have no idea who's controlling these columns.
I don't know what's going on. And then just as you guys are talking, another golem comes around the corner here just into view and spots Tess and just says objective and starts running towards you guys. And then just as this golem is about to get up to you guys, everything fades to black. And you don't see anything anymore.
Just don't feed those golems after midnight.
Okay, I'm going to turn off this now. And I'm going to remove all tokens. Let's see, how do I do this? There we go. Remove all lines. All right. And now you are going to, let's get your token out there. And now you wake up and you find yourself outside in this like weird dirt parking lot, and there's a bunch of covered wagons parked in the parking lot, and there's a few people walking through the parking lot. They look human to you. They are walking up to this big building. So let me get a little bit more drawing going on here. Okay, so there is this big building up here. Probably about like that big. Okay, and then there is a parking lot that you're standing in out here. Let me just draw that. And so it's kind of this dirt parking lot, so it's not even perfectly like put together. So that's why I'm not even drawing straight lines. It's not like a parking lot like you're imagining from modern day. It's basically just a sand lot, like this dirt lot, with a bunch of wagons parked in it, some horses tied to posts and stuff like that. And then there is this porch on the front of this building here, and there's a few people there's a couple people standing just outside in front of these doors, and this building looks rather extravagant. But then you notice off in this direction, let's see here, there's a little cart here, and there's a cart here, and these are open cart like wagons, like think of like a hot dog truck or something, like those little like food trucks that come and they open up the side and they serve you from out the side of it. These are like very haphazard, put together wood little carts that are similar. They have a little canopy thing that's open out in front of them, and then there are people inside selling various goods. And to know what they are, you'd have to walk up to each one. But then over here, you hear some yelling, and you can't quite see around the tree line there. Let me draw a little bit more here. And that's all you can see for now. And then let me get some green going on here, and I'll draw some trees. There's just trees all over.
And while you do that, if you look at my D&D Beyond sheet, you see like the update image for Sandblade. I think that's what I picked originally.
Okay, D&D Beyond. Let me look that up. Oops, wrong campaign. Solstice. Sandblade. Okay, so is that your default appearance then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me make sure you're seeing the same thing as the guy with the white hair, and it's kind of looks like he's got a missing piece on the top of his head.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to put that in there now. Fantasy Grounds, Portraits, Sam Blade. Okay, and then I'll pop open your sheet. Come on. There we go. Perfect. Okay. All right, so yeah, so you hear some yelling.
I'm gonna go investigate.
Okay, 1 second here. Oh, what? Oh. Okay, fine. Let me pull that one in too then. All right. Okay. That's fine. All right, so you walk over here to investigate. Let's draw some more stuff. How do I create a new paint layer? There we go. Okay. And then we'll select it. I'll change this to black. Okay, cool. You notice that there's a couple more. Damn it.
More damage.
I'm trying to get better at using these tools, but right now it's taking me a minute. Okay. You see some more carts parked over here. There's another cart here. But then you see there is a rather large cart right here in the middle being opened, that's like got this open top. Almost like a dump truck looking cart, but it's not a dump truck. It's like like a horse pulled thing. And then there is this track that's kind of going into this cavern right here. I'm going to just color it in as best I can.
It's going inside a cavern, you say?
Yes. And it's like a mine cart track basically.
Okay, so that cavern you mean like a mine shaft?
Yeah, exactly. And there's this rock face back here. Okay, and then you see that there are a bunch of tabaxi, like tabaxi workers that are. Hold on, tokens, tabaxi. There we go. Oh my god, I hate this thing. Why does it keep doing that? Okay, and then we'll give him. Let me clear the golem. Oh, and clear Tess out of here. Okay. That's good enough for now. Now let me... Oh, damn it. I keep doing that. Okay. There's 3 tabaxi over here. And then there's a 4th one over here helping to load the cart and stuff. And then real quick, let me get some guards. Come on, FGU, you can do it. I believe in you. Okay. Those work. Let's do that. Okay. New gun. Okay. Open up. Okay, and there's a guard here. And there's a guard here. And there's a guard here on the porch area. And then I think there's one more. So I had to look at my notes here to make sure I'm not misremembering any. Four? Okay, I don't know why that's... Oh, come on. I hate when I go to grab a token and it moves the whole freaking map. Okay, and then there's one out there in the parking lot. Okay, perfect. All right, so you walk out here, and you can see you're standing next to a guard, and you look down, you look at him, and he kind of looks at you, and he nods. And then you look down at your own hands, and you see that you're wearing like this kind of sort of pseudo armor as well. And you realize that you are also a guard.
I'm not. Oh, my token disappeared.
I changed it to the guard, so just click it again. Okay. Like apparently it deselects it when I do that. Sorry.
I look at the guards and go, I heard screaming. Is everything okay?
Well, there's always screaming coming from over here. You know that.
Is it the Busky again?
The what?
Unless it's pretend like I said the race right. Tabaxi?
Oh, okay. Yeah, the tabaxi. Always slacking off. Ain't that right, Johnny? And then Johnny hollers back, what? He said, ain't that right? They're slacking off. All right, yeah, you're right. And he pulls out this sword and he just kind of smashes it into the ground, not respecting the sword at all, as he stabs it into the gravel on the ground, basically, and then kind of swings it at the feet of the tabaxi. And then he says, get a move on! And the tabaxi like pick up pace and kind of yelp as they're forced to move faster as they're hauling stuff out of this cavern or out of the cart on the mine track and into this bigger cart that's being pulled by a horse.
That guard should have disadvantage on any roll he has to do with this sword.
Sorry, what?
That guard who did the thing in the ground, because he did that, he should have like disadvantage on everything attack he does with his sword. I'm gonna walk over, I guess, talk to the Baxi.
Okay. All right, so go ahead and move your token wherever you would walk to.
Okay.
Okay, and you're going to talk to the Tabaxi, and before you get to talk to him, though, this guy, we'll name him now since you now know his name. Let's see which
his
one.
name is Rumpus.
Damn it, hold on. No, not him. Okay, that one. This guy's Johnny now.
Johnny number 5.
Because you heard him referred to as Johnny. Okay, so then Johnny yells, he's like, I took care of it. Don't worry about it, Axe.
I'm not looking at the Baxi and look at him and go, why don't you show these Tabaxi how it's done?
I just did. I scared him into working harder.
I didn't say scare him. I said show him how to do the work.
What do you mean? You want me to do the work?
Yeah, do it.
You're too funny, Axe. What'd you say?
I said, yeah, just show him once how to do it.
I don't... Are you on some kind of joke? What's the matter with you? You been drinking?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, well, I won't tell anyone if you don't. Lord knows I've been one to have a little bit of a sip of Grandpa's cough medicine once in a while.
So what else is going on here?
Just the usual. You looking to take over?
Yeah, I'll take over.
All right, I guess I could use a break. You good? You sure you're good to watch them? If you've been drinking, the boss might find
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I'm pretty good.
All right then. And he heads off this direction, and he kind of grabs this guy, and they both head off this direction.
So we can't see the guard on the porch.
Nope, he does not have line of sight to you.
I'm gonna look at the back and say, which one of you is in charge?
Uh, None of us are in charge, sir. You're in charge. You're in charge.
Which one of you is the head tabaxi?
I, the head to. None of us are. There's no hierarchy here, sir. We're working as fast as we can, sir. I promise.
And you said that this is a horse and a buggy.
Yeah, it's like a huge cart. In fact, I should duplicate this horse if I can. It's fine. Just pretend there's two horses in the front of it. We'll have it full, sir, by within the next hour.
Are those racists giving you trouble?
Who?
The guards.
You're the guards, sir.
Yeah, well, I think I might be tempted to let you go free.
I we just want to get our job done, sir. We don't want to play any games. Like we're not trying to hurt anyone.
So you're not aiming to get free then?
Well, of course we want to be let free, sir, but you're not going to let us free. We both know that.
Oh, I will.
Very well. What game are we playing today, Mr. Axe?
All right. So, do you know any place that you can go that you can be safe?
No.
Mind you can take this cart.
No, sir. I don't know any place I can go.
Or do you know a place you don't want to tell me that you can go?
No.
That is a tough one. You need to find you a place to go.
Roll a persuasion check.
Persuasion.
Okay. So you've never. This tabaxi is clearly familiar with you, and he doesn't seem to have ever witnessed you behaving oddly like this. And so he just says to you, he just says, well, okay, well, I can gather everyone else, and we can try and find someplace safe away from your fellow guards.
Sounds good. We'll get in this cart and we'll take it someplace.
Why are you doing this, Mr. Axe, sir?
Well, I don't believe in people should be slaves anymore.
Well, okay. Well, that's fantastic. Okay, and he puts his fingers between his lips and he does like this whistle motion, but you don't see anything. And then suddenly these tabaxi all pop out of the cavern there, and there ends up being two more than what you could see before. Get them on the tracker here. Okay, and he just says, you're never going to believe it. We're being set free. Axe here has had a change of heart." And then this guy next to him goes, he has? Are you tricking us again? We just want to do our work. We don't want to be harassed. Is that so much to ask, sir?
No, I don't believe in slavery anymore. I think that you guys should be set free.
Roll another persuasion check.
Okay, persuasion.
Okay. And so he just says, okay. He doesn't really seem to believe you, but he doesn't really have much choice. So what should we do, Mr. Axe?
Well, we gotta find a place for you be safe. You sure you don't know any place where your kind is?
No, no, I don't know. I mean, we do know the mines, and the guards don't know the mines. We could hide there for a while, but we would need food, and I'm not sure that that would really get us anywhere since they could just wait out here as long as they want. There's only one exit.
Could you make it look like you went in the mines?
How would we do that?
Put a barricade up. Let's put a barricade up and then we'll leave.
Well, we would need one of us to be on the inside to put the barricade up from the inside.
Now we'll just try our hardest to make it look like we did.
We just need the guards to think that we ran inside. If we had somebody who maybe you know, your boss has pelts, has tabaxi pelts inside the manor there. If you could get us one of those, you could wear it and you could go inside and be pretending to be one of us. And then if they see you go inside, and we could hide in the tree line, and then they would chase you in there, thinking that you were that you were one of us, and we were all going in there to hide. And then when they chase you in there, we could leave.
Do I still have my shape-shifting abilities?
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to change it to one of the cats.
Okay, so you change into a tabaxi right before his eyes, and he just says, "Oh, Mr. Axe, you're one of us. How did you do that? How did you have that disguise? Or are you disguised now? What's going on? I've never seen anything like that before."
I'm really just Paratash. I'm gonna draw the guards in there, and you gotta run.
You're really who?
Paratash.
I don't know who that is.
Who's the goddess?
Pirtash.
Paratash.
I don't know who that is.
Well, one day you might find out.
Oh, okay. Well, this is great. All right, everyone with me, and they all run into the tree line. And we'll just put them right here for now. We'll just pretend they're deep in the trees, kind of watching from the treetops and stuff. And you wait there for a little while, and then the Johnny guard comes back, and he's with his other buddy, and the other guy just says, "Well, I gotta watch these here carts, or the boss is gonna get pretty mad if he finds out we left our posts. So probably better go relieve Axe there. He seemed a bit tipsy to me." And then Johnny goes, "Yeah, I wasn't gonna tell anyone. Don't tell the boss. You know, I don't want to ruin it for the rest of us." And then he starts to walk back, and he sees you, and he just says, "Where's the rest of you?"
I'm gonna throw a stone at him, and I'm gonna run right into the mine.
Okay, roll a acrobatics check. Athletics check, excuse me.
Oops.
That's fine. I think they're the same for you anyway. Okay, so you hit him right in the face with the stone. Just poof. Ah! You shit tabaxi! And he starts running after you, and you run into the mine.
As I run into the mine, I say, "You'll never catch me, piggy."
Okay. And then the three of these guards all come running after you into the mine. And you are. Do we need to draw the mine out? Are you going to try and hide, or what are you going to do while you're in here?
I'm gonna just kind of run in there and then change back into
a guard.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So they come running in there, and they round the corner. And are you just waiting for them?
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna look like I'm a little bit beat up.
Okay. All right. So you transfigure a little bit to look a little beat up. And they round the corner, and they see you there with your hands on your knees, and you're out of breath. And then you look up at them, and you're beat up in the face. Do you say anything to them?
I say, "Hey guys, that hold up in there. They're gone crazy.
The tobacco. Where'd they go?"
They're down there, and they got a barricade set up. So I think you guys should sit here and wait for me to get the boss."
All right, we'll go try it. We'll go investigate. Go get the boss.
And I'm gonna go out.
Okay.
What's up, the chefness?
We're in the middle of an
Yes.
episode. That's why we're in the live stream channel.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's okay.
And then I'm gonna go to the tree line.
Okay. All right, and you go in there and you don't see anyone.
I don't see the Tabasky.
Nope, you don't see anyone. Well, yeah, actually, you know what? Roll me a perception check. Yeah, you don't see anyone.
All right. I'm gonna go in, a little bit deeper in, see if I can. That changes.
Okay. Nothing changes.
I'm gonna whistle,
Okay.
just like the other cat did.
Okay. You whistle and it's super loud. You don't hear anything or see anything.
I guess I'll go get the boss then, since I can't help them.
I mean, you don't say anything. You just whistle.
Say,
That's it.
I say, "Hey guys, come out."
Okay. And then, Mr. Axe, is that you?
Yes.
Okay. And then you see him and the rest of them all descend from the treetops slowly, very
All right, guys.
stealthily.
I bought us some time. We need to get deeper into the woods.
They will find us here eventually. They're very adept trackers when they put their minds to it. So yes, let's get out of here. And then just as you guys are about to leave, you suddenly hear a loud, shredding, clinking sound coming from behind you. And you turn around to look across the way here, and you see a tabaxi step out of the manor and stab the one guard that's over there right through the heart with this big sword, and he falls to the ground. And then you look across the parking lot, and you see a bunch of humans and stuff getting out of these carts and stuff, and they're walking up to these little shops. And all of a sudden, this giant spinning wheel of death, this big, huge metal razor blade that's like the size of two cars stacked on top of each other, comes spinning through the parking lot. It just crushes several carts. It grinds up a couple of the human patrons, and it heads for the tabaxi, and the tabaxi dives out of the way. And then you see it runs through the corpse of the guy that just got stabbed, and it comes wheeling out into this area here, and it just grinds through the horse and through the cart, everything, just shredding everything. And then it kind of unfurls into a like this sort of dog-shaped looking machine of some kind, and it's like trotting around on all fours, and then two other of these dog-shaped things come running from this direction, and the one just says objective, and then they all start to follow it, and they head into the cave.
I'm gonna cast a message on the cat that stabbed the guard.
Okay.
I would say, get to the tree line while you still can. We're gonna get deeper in the woods.
Okay. All right. So you cast message, and you're unsure if he heard it or not. And just as you guys are about to head into the trees, everything fades to black. Okay, and let's delete all the tokens and arrows. Okay. And now, next you find yourself, you wake up again, and you find yourself in the middle of a giant march. I'm not going to draw this one because there's not a lot to draw. You find yourself in the middle of this giant march of humans, black and white humans, and you are one of them. You look down, and again, you're dressed in guard armor, except you're way more beefed up, and you're holding a pitchfork and a torch, and you're marching with all the rest of these humans dressed in armor and stuff, and there's horses pulling some catapults alongside you guys. There's some archers, a line of archers behind you. It's like you guys are marching to war or something, marching to attack something, and you're headed towards this farm field. And you see ahead of you that there is a giant wall, a huge barricade. And then the dude next to you, he kind of leans over and he nudges you, and he just says, That wasn't there before. They've constructed that almost overnight.
Maybe they had the power of alcohol.
Oh, that, what? You alright, Ed?
Yeah.
Alright, I think maybe you had the power of alcohol. No? Are you ready for this fight? Are you scared?
No, I'm not scared. What are we fighting for again?
What are we fighting for again? The elves! They're trying to take over our territory. They think they can just do whatever they want.
Well, what are they trying to do?
You see that man right there? And
Yeah.
he points to this elf guy that's out in front of the wall. He says, "Well, that man decided to farm this field that we're standing in, outside of the zone that we've given them. He thinks he can just ignore the rules, and now they're all going to be punished for it."
That seems kind of pointless to me.
Pointless? You're not a sympathizer. What's the matter with you, Ed?
But what if I was to tell you you couldn't farm a field?
Well, I don't have a field. I just
Well, if you
do.
did-
I just follow orders.
What if you
Well, as
found a
you
field and I
should.
said, what if you found a field and it looked good for farming, no one was using it, and you started farming, and then someone said, no, you can't do that.
Who's going to tell me that?
That's my point. He says say the same thing that you said.
I'm not a dirty elf. What's the matter with you?
What's the difference?
Why don't you
Elf,
fasten
human?
your helmet on a little less tightly so we can get on with it, okay?
Elf, human, we all want the same thing.
You're not going to make me get the commander, are you? You're just pulling
That
my
doesn't
leg,
matter to me.
right?
Yeah, sure.
He eyes you. Roll a deception check.
Deception.
And he eyes you for a second, and he just says, "Well, good then. I'll be right back. I just have a question for Ted." And he walks away. Kind of rushes to the front of the march.
I am. Do I know anything that's going on?
Sorry, what?
Do I know what he's trying to do?
Roll a history check.
History.
Okay. As you think really hard, you're kind of able to pull in memories from your host, from the person you are at that moment, and you're able to remember that you've been part of this. You're relocated here to this area, and it's kind of hard for you. It's a fuzzy memory, but you feel like that you and the elves were both relocated to this area, to this world, by a benevolent race that tried to save you from something, and that you're relocated here. And for some reason, you get the impression that it was a temporary relocation, but you don't fully understand what that context implies. But you do recall that you've had feelings of you've had misgivings about the way everything's been going in this new world, because the humans, you and the rest of the humans that were relocated here, have basically been oppressing the elves who were also located here. You were told to get along, but instead the humans have basically just corralled the elves into this little peninsula area, this little corner of the continent, and told that that's where they have to stay. And you've not been a big fan of that. That's the impression you get from the remnants that are left in your mind.
So I'm gonna start walking towards. I'm gonna break range, walking around and say, guys, I'm not giving him 1-4. I'm gonna start walking towards the elf that's standing by that wall.
Okay, so you right now have to go about 30 feet out in front of the march. So are you really going to walk out in front of the march? The commander is in front on a horse with a big flag.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to run over there, and I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna give him 1-4.
Okay, so you walk in front of the march, and you just hear, "Hey!" You stop,
I'm giving him one for it. I'm gonna continue.
and the commander says, "Sympathizer! Is that?" And you hear the one dude. He's like, "That's him, and he just says, "Stop that man!"
I'm gonna try to run.
And then you just hear the one dude that says, "Ed, just don't resist, Ed." You gonna run? Okay.
Yeah.
Roll me a athletics check. Okay. All right. So you run faster than you've ever run, and you try to get out in front of this area, but then you just hear as this horse comes clopping up behind you really fast. Just as he comes up, and you just feel the scruff of your shirt your undershirt that's under your armor get pulled up from behind your neck out the top of the back of your armor, basically, and this huge burly dude that you sort of half recognize as your superior officer picks you up off the ground and holds you out to the side and then just carries you back, and you're kicking your legs and you're and you're trying to resist, but he just carries you back into the ranks, and he throws you into the front line where these other guards are. These other troops are waiting, and they grab you, one from behind and then two on the side, and they hold you still. They hold your arms and force you to march.
Can I cast Thunder Wave
You sure
at
can.
level 2?
You sure can.
I think that's an area effect spell.
Okay. That is going to hit about... So just roll the damage, because the damage applies to all of them. So go ahead. First roll to... is it a roll to attack? How does it work? Let's see.
I think it's a Constitution. It's a save throw up. I'm not sure.
Thunder Wave. Oh, you're right. It's a save. Okay. Let's see. It's a Constitution 14 save. So what I'm going to do is roll about... Let's see. So there's the 3 guards. And then... What's the radius on it?
Oh, let me look again. Radius. Range says self 15 feet.
15 feet. Okay. So that's going to include, let's see, 5 foot feet. And that's going to you and the 3 guards. And then another 5 feet is going to be at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then another 5 feet is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yeah, that seems about right. All right, and that was a 14 save. Okay, so roll the damage for me.
You have to fix it later. I'm gonna have to do it manually because honestly, on the sheet, Thunder Wave level 2 is
It's on
3d8.
It's on action.
I see level 1.
So what you have to do is drag the little icon, the blood icon, and then right click once to add the extra d8.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Okay, so half of that is going to be 11, 10, 10, because you round down. Okay, so 10 damage to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them. Okay, so a bunch of them take half damage from this as they're like, whoa, and then like as this just wave of energy just shoots out from around you. The 3 guys on you immediately go flying, and the 3 of them are toast. And then the ones around them are, some of them took full damage, some of them took half. 3 of them plus 2 of the ones on the outside are dead. And you create basically this just big bubble of space between you and the rest of the men, and you are on the edge of this march, and you could run off to the tree line. I assume that's probably what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you run out of there. Roll me another athletics check.
Oh, not good.
Okay. So you are almost to the tree line when you hear the clip clop of the horse again
Just
coming.
before the horse gets there, I am going to cast Thunder Wave at level 1.
Okay. So right as the horse is about to show up, you cast Thunder Wave again. Go ahead and roll the damage. I'll just click it since I have it up already. Okay. And you send this guy flying off of the horse. As he's, ugh, you little shit! As he stands up and kind of dusts himself off. And then just as he's about to remount his horse, a huge saw blade, again, just like the one you've seen before, cuts through the forest in front of you and knocks down a tree. And this big swirly saw blade, followed by 3 more, comes cruising through the field. And they go, one of them barely misses you as it runs through right by you, as though you're not even there. And it starts cutting through the human army, just one by one, just grinding it up. It's just this huge meat grinder, body parts and blood spraying everywhere, and hair, and the smell is awful, and just the smell of death as this thing just shreds through the ranks. And then 2 more come flying out of the woods and run straight through that wall that the elves apparently erected. And they start wrecking everything on the other side, including the elf dude that was standing out there in front of that wall. It shreds through that guy just standing there. It's clearly not discriminating against humans. It's killing everything, including the elves. And they're just getting completely wrecked as these machines are flying around, and then this giant mechanical spider comes marching through the ranks of the humans and comes to the front. And then you watch as this one elf girl runs up to the spider and puts a some sort of pendant on the spider, and you watch as all the machines freeze. All the machines freeze in place, and the spider turns the red running lights on the spider, its glowing eyes, and some of the red hues and some of its joints and stuff are replaced by a green for a moment as the machine begins to talk, and you hear it speak of a ship in a clearing nearby as it just says, "Hurry, time, shore." And then the lights turn red again, and all the machines come back to life and start shredding everything again. And this you watch as this elf girl goes running across the field, and she as she falls in this like ditch, and that's carved from one of the big spinny saw blades. And as she tries to get out of the ditch, she barely makes it out, but a machine takes her hand right off, just completely severs her hand as she goes running into the past the wall and into the tree line.
I'm going to follow.
Okay. All right. So you try to follow her, but no matter how hard you look, you can't seem to find her. And you keep looking around, and then eventually you find a clearing. And in the clearing, you see a ship in the middle of the clearing. This weird. It looks very similar to kind of those pods that you saw earlier in your previous memory. That kind of take off into the air, and you see an opportunity that maybe it'll take you with it.
Okay, I'm going to take the opportunity and not going to miss my shot. I'm going to go right on that ship.
Okay, you go right on that ship. And so the rest of this is basically just me telling you what happened. Okay, and so this whole thing is a little bit on rails just because it's a memory. You're experiencing memories. The ship takes off. The ship sits there for a while, and you just hear this computer inside saying, "Please come aboard. You are being rescued." And it just keeps saying that over and over. And then you see a few more humans have managed to flee the battle and come up behind you. And you are you guys are inside, and it says, "Please enter your cryopod."
I enter.
And then it pulls up in this pod, and there's like this bed inside. Okay, you just go straight in, no objection?
Yeah.
Okay, so you and the other humans get in this pod, And then before the lids close, you see a group of elves, including the girl who lost her hand, also make it aboard. And they go into a separate room with separate pods. And then the whole ship closes up and takes off, and you go to sleep inside these pods. Later on, you're woken up, and you wake up, and it's the girl, the elf girl. There's red lights flashing, and you just hear like an emergency alarm or something going off. And there's red lights flashing, emergency lights. There's no regular lighting, so something's clearly going on. And you wake up, and you wake up from this deep sleep, and your body is like cold, but it warms up really fast, and you just feel like the life was sucked out of you, but now you're slowly coming back to reality. And you sit up in your pod, and you see this elf girl who just let you out.
It's the same one you said?
Mm-hmm.
I look at her and go, did they help you out with your arm?
And before you can even say anything, you notice that there's another human that's been let out in front of you. And he's very charged with hatred, as he's just like, the last thing you hear as you start to come back to reality is just, well, we don't really have much choice, so I guess we'll help. And then he just says, but under any other circumstance, I would not help an elf. And then what did you ask? You asked if they helped her arm.
Yeah.
And you look down and you see the stump of her arm, and you see that it's like haphazardly cauterized. And then she looks at you and she just says, Who helped me with my arm?
Whoever owns this ship or whatever this thing is.
I don't know where we are. Do you know where we are?
No.
And then she just looks at you skeptically, looks at the other dude skeptically, and she pulls out this weird alien-looking ray gun that is very, very odd-looking. And she pulls the trigger, and this huge wave of energy blasts through the first guy in front of you and just shreds him. And the shockwave launches you back into the pods and kind of wedges you underneath a pod. And you watch as the energy shoots the rest of your party into oblivion, and it blasts a hole through the back wall and into space. And a shield kind of crackles into place before the wall, after the hole basically has a giant hole in it. A shield cracks into place to stop the rest of the air from being sucked out. But everything in the path of this weird gun has been vaporized. And then you watch as this elf girl turns around and leaves, and she walks out of the room. And then as she does, you hear and a thud in the hallway.
I go to see if I can help her.
Okay, so you step out into the hallway, and you see these mechanical spiders crawling over her body. And she's unconscious, but the spiders are clearly trying to finish her off.
I'm going to try to kick them off.
Okay, well, like, what do you do? Do you use an ability, or you just gonna kick them?
You know what? I can summon my cannon, can I?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to summon my cannon.
Okay.
Be a large one that walks.
Okay. All right. So there's one spider on her face. Do you shoot it with the cannon?
I'm gonna shoot the one. I'm gonna kick the one off her face, and my cannon shoot like the other ones.
Okay. Find out what your roll is for the cannon's attack roll. I think it's probably a +4, honestly. So let's just do this again. Okay, so you kick the one off, and then the cannon hits another one. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, and pushes it off, and then there's one more spider that is on her. What do you do with that one?
I'm gonna try to kick that one too.
Okay, so you kick these spiders, you punch them, you do whatever you can, and the spiders try to attack, try to jump and attack you, but they've already been kind of beat up from their altercation with her and stuff, and so you were able to finish them off pretty easy. But yeah, she just lays completely unconscious on the floor now.
I'm gonna have the cannon protect us. I'm gonna go back in the room and I'm gonna try to wake her up.
Okay, you shake her and everything and tries to wake her up, but nothing happens. She's clearly like super out of it. Probably has a concussion.
I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on her at level 1.
Okay. All right, so she's stable now, but she's still unconscious. Go ahead and roll for how much you heal her for.
That's 1d8 plus 3.
If you could just hit this button, it'll roll it. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep, she's looking a lot better. Some of her wounds are healed, but she's not waking up.
I'm gonna do that this one more time.
Okay. Again, she looks pretty good now, but it's clear you're having a hard time healing the concussion, or at least her brain just won't wake up yet. For some reason, she just won't wake up, but you can tell she's stable. All her vital signs are stable.
I guess I'll just wait in the room until she wakes up.
Okay. You start, as you're waiting around, you just hear and this giant metal claw comes piercing through the hallway down from where you are, and it just kind of shreds through and scoops away a bunch of the hull of the ship, and then again another shield ripples into place, like holding in the atmosphere of the ship, basically.
Did it fly out, or is it still there?
What, the claw?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost like there's something bigger on the outside of the ship, reaching in and shredding bits of the ship. And so this claw just came in and grabbed a bunch of stuff and then slowly pulled its way out of view.
Okay. Because I'm just gonna.
And you can just you can hear it. It's clearly like wrecking and shredding the ship from the outside.
Guess I'm just gonna wait.
You're sure?
I guess we'll try to run away from the claw. I'll pick her up and run away from the claw.
Okay. You pick her up. It's about half movement speed in order to go, but she's pretty light, so you're able to move. And you encounter another elf dude that is messing around in this weird looking cockpit area at the other end of the hall.
I'm gonna go up to him and ask him if he knows how to get us out of here.
And let's see, hold on one sec. Let me look. Okay, there we go. So this dude, he turns and he just says, "Cirilla, is she okay?" And
I healed her, but
rushes
she's
to her.
unconscious.
We've got to get the. I can't fix this thing. I don't know what's going on, but we're definitely going to be destroyed. We've got to put her in a pod. And he puts her in one of these pods. Like, I don't know what they do, but I know that we survived in them. And he puts her in this pod that's in the cockpit. There's like one that's free. And he puts her in it, and then he gears everything, like presses all these buttons until this light turns green. And then he presses the final button, and you see her eyes pop open as she looks, and he puts this bloody hand, his bloody hand on the glass right before it ejects, and she sees it. And then the claw comes bursting through the wall in front of you, and it just grabs this guy by the legs, like just almost like incidentally, like he got stuck in a crevice inside this claw as it's ripping parts of the ship, and it just drags him with it and pulls him out of the cockpit. Again, half the cockpit completely destroyed, and a bunch of air gets sucked out for a second, but then a shield, like this weird bubble shield around it, ripples into place still to keep maintaining the atmosphere.
Okay.
He was messing with some controls here in the cockpit, like trying to get this thing to land.
I'm gonna look at the controls that he was trying to mess with.
Okay. One of them is that you can understand that maybe he couldn't understand because it's written in a language you recognize. And for some reason now you understand this language, even though you recognize it as a language you didn't understand in a previous memory. It's the language that was on that phone device you found in that conference. And you can recognize the display, and you're easily able to see this flashing escape pod active button.
It's saying It's just a button that says
escape pod active, and it's flashing like it's waiting to be pressed.
I'm gonna push it.
Okay, you press it, and then all of a sudden this like manhole cover basically on the floor kind of opens up, and there's like a ladder leading down a tube in the floor.
I'm gonna go to the tube.
Okay, so you drop down into the tube, and there is like this weird like egg-shaped pod. It's very similar to the pods that you saw in the very beginning, the ones that the civilians were piling into and taking off from that conference. Only it's a lot smaller. It's like a one-person-sized pod, and you get into it, and this there's another flashing button that just says release clamp.
I'm gonna hit that button.
Okay, you hit the button, and the overhead door closes, and this like claw thing that was holding on to the pod lets go of the pod, and you're now in like this little Jetsons like pod. As you look behind you as you're falling away, and you see this huge ass mechanical spider just shredding the shit out of this ship. Just taking bits of it, throwing it off into space, taking more bits of it, throwing it off into space. And yet the ship still just keeps going until finally it shreds off the final engine burner and throws it off into space. And then all the lights and stuff on it finally go dark. And the shield around it just kind of ripples out of existence. And you see a bunch of air and debris and bodies and blood and stuff like kind of sort of explode outward as the shield containing the atmosphere fails, and it all just kind of bursts outward and dissipates. And then this spider, after having shredded the whole thing into bits, kind of turns into this sort of craft. It no longer looks like a spider. It looks more like some sort of orbiting like triangle craft. And it kind of closes up on itself, becomes this little orbiting craft. And your pod is just floating off into the distance, and you have these controls, and apparently you can control where this pod goes, and you're able to read this screen pretty easily to guide the pod. And you just hear this voice that just says, "Escape pod AI companion active. Highly recommend entering Solstice entry port code."
I ask what's the code?
The code can be found in your primary ID card.
I lost the ID card.
Emergency procedures initiated. Analyzing. Please hold. And then you just hear hold music.
Do I see the other pod while we're waiting?
What pod?
The one that the Elven girl went in?
No, that one was almost more like a missile. Like it was like put into this launch tube and like launched out the side of the ship, and it immediately went off into the distance. But you go to look the direction the pod went, and you are met with a sight. So everywhere else around the ship, you've been looking at the ship and watching it be shredded and everything, and you've been floating around in this black void of space that your character obviously has no concept of space, and so it's just like almost like a dream as you've been looking around at the stars and everything. And then as you slowly turn around to look at the direction that pod was launched, you see a giant sphere fill up your view, this huge sphere. And it is partially not constructed. So most of it is complete, but there's a portion of it, like a big hole in it, that's not complete. And the computer comes back and says collision with Solstice shield is imminent. Please avoid collision. And the controls for controlling the pod's direction are like blinking on the screen.
All right, I try to avoid.
Okay, so you start to mess with these controls, and it takes you a minute, but you start to realize that you kind of almost have a joystick that you can control the direction of the pod. Where do you head?
Away from the shield that you said to avoid.
Okay, so you turn it directly around, or do you just try to go parallel to it?
I try to go parallel to it.
Okay, so you turn the ship slightly to the right, keeping this big sphere in view, and then the computer voice just comes back and says, "Solstice habitat nearly complete. Maintenance entry found. No coded entry required. and then recommend engaging autopilot.
I
And then it
engage
starts to
autopilot.
flash. Okay, and the computer takes you around the sphere, and then it finds this one part of the sphere where there's like this weird little like hole in the side, like and a door opens and reveals this like entry port, and the shield contracts itself to form like a little hole in the shield as your little egg pod slips through it, and then it immediately slips into this like maintenance hatch or whatever. And after about like what seems like an eternity, like 20 minutes of just this pod just being handed around through different maintenance tubes and stuff, and just like kind of being drugged through this weird pneumatic system, and then it pops up into, you're shoved into like a body of water. Now you're surrounded by water, and then all of a sudden, while you're in this tank of water or whatever, the lid pops open, and you are now forced out of the pod, and you're now in the water, and you can't breathe. But you see that there's light in the water, and so you can swim toward the light if you would like.
I'm gonna swim towards the light.
Okay, so you swim up and you surface, and you find that you're staring up at a huge bright sun above you, and you take a big deep breath of air since you didn't have any air, and you look up and you don't see stars anymore. Behind you see the sun, and then you see the around you, the edges of the sky are covered, or they're obscured by fog a little bit, like foggy clouds, but you see like these weird pictures depicted on the dome, and you recognize them, and you recognize that you are now back. You're now at the place where your main character is now. You recognize the dome and you recognize the sun, except for the pictures on the dome don't match the pictures you remember. And on the opposite side of, well, not the opposite, but like off on the corner of the sky, basically on the dome, there's a giant hole, and through that hole you can still see stars and space, like that the dome is not completely constructed.
Okay. Do I see land?
You do. You start swimming towards it, and that is where you go black again. And suddenly you are awake in the chamber, the ancient chamber, which I'll drag to the chat again. And Piratesh pulls her hand off your head. And she just says, "Sam Blade, you are quite an intriguing character."
Well, thank you.
Thank you for that memory. I mean, you're welcome for giving you that memory. Please, take care of yourselves. And she walks backward toward this giant device that's kind of swirling around and active with energy in the back there. And her hologram disappears. And everybody around you starts to wake up. And that's it.
I'm surprised there wasn't like a pile of hay to jump in.
Sorry for it being so on rails, because it's memories, so it's a little bit
No
on
problem.
rails. But you do have more influence than you realize, and you'll find out why later. Or did have more influence than you realized. I'll be right back. I got to let a pig in the house.
Okay.
I'll say goodbye to everybody on stream real fast so I can turn it off. Thanks for watching. And we will be doing one later tonight for Mirama's one-on-one session with her character Alora, probably around 9 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you want to check us out